the Sony ATV situation, it actually was in the works for a few years through Philly, veterans, Sherman and Mark Byers, two great men. They definitely put a lot of people on in Philadelphia. We, as Frank and I, we created a record called No ID. And I wanted Freeway to get on the record. And Sherman and Mark, they bridged the gap and got us in the studio with Freeway. We made that song happen. The song was phenomenal. That one song led to us, Frank and I, producing 8 out of 13 records on Freeway's last album that came off a label called Baby Grand. So that was like unheard of for two unknown, young, hungry guys to create 8 records. And these were, it wasn't like we created 20 records. We produced 20 records for Freeway and they chose 8. We literally produced records until they was like, all right, that's enough. But all 8 records that we produced made the album out of 13. So that really, garnered the attention from, the Sony reps. And they took us up there and, we got an attorney and we made it happen. Cope. I would say biggest hip hop moment, man, I got to live was the first Brooklyn Fest, Brooklyn Hip Hop Fest. I had some great moments so far, but the Brooklyn Hip Hop Fest, it was a Freeway was performing, and I mean, listen, New York crowds are tough. They're tough. If they rock with you, they'll show you that they rocking with you. If you ain't hot, they're gonna let you know that you ain't hot. They not feeling you. So Freeway performed, and then he told me, yo, man, before the show, look, you could do one of the records that him and I have with each other. It's a mixtape record. It's called we redid the Meek Mill song Monster. If you haven't, check that freestyle out. So it's called Monster. And we did that record. And when it was time for me to come on the stage and rap, I just walked out with the mic and I just started going in on the record. And I mean, it was probably like a good, I would say 5,000, maybe 5,000 to 10,000 people in the crowd. And man, I just got lost, man. I had like an out of body experience. And by the time my verse was over, when I say every single person that was in the crowd went bananas. It was like the greatest feeling any artist could ever have performing in front of people. First and foremost, I gotta thank Wu-Tang's touring manager, my OG Tariq, man. He, aside of music, man, I just want him to be in my life forever. He's just a great person, man, like great person. One lesson, one of the biggest lessons I think that any artist should take from me, in regards to touring, especially, on a tour like that. Being on time, number one. If you on time, you late. So you need to be there earlier than on time. That's one. Always make sure that you sound check more than one time. Sound check as many times as you can to make sure, because the rooms, or if you outside, everything is different once it fills up. And with the most legendary hip hop group, Wu-Tang, it's going to be sold out almost every time. So it's going to be filled to capacity. So you got to make sure that you sound checking consistently. Another thing a lot of people don't realize is that they think that when you're on tour, you just go to these cities and you just having fun and, it's just the life. But man, it's really work. You know what I mean? So literally, just a quick run through of, a 2-day touring schedule, you get to a city, you do your sound check as many times as you can. After sound check, they had, not all of them do this, but they had catering. I mean, it's Wu-Tang, so food, every show was catered. You eat your food. After you eat your food, the best thing to do, I would suggest, is relax, preserve your energy. Don't try to go out and walk the streets. Plus, you don't want to get into any, trouble or anything. Stay in your hotel, listen to your music, practice, go over your stuff. Treat this as a job. I mean, you've been dreaming about it your whole life, right? So now that you got the moment, take full advantage of it. Practice, practice, practice before the show. You go out, you perform. After you perform, it's literally, okay, flight, or you driving to the next city. And if you're a smaller act on tour with someone such as the Wu-Tang, you driving, so you want to preserve your energy to make sure that you're driving if you don't have a driver. So, it's a lot that come with it, but it's actually a job, but it's definitely worth it though at the end.